May 9, 1940, 3:17 p.m. Somewhere near Arras, France. Second Lieutenant Erwin Rommel watches a British Matilda tank roll toward his position. The tank is massive, armor thick enough to bounce German anti-tank rounds, 2-pounder gun that can tear through anything the Wehrmacht has. Behind it, 15 more Matilda tanks, an entire armored column bearing down on his battalion. Rommel has 20 minutes before his entire position is overrun. His anti-tank guns are useless. His men are retreating. The French campaign is supposed to be over. The British Expeditionary Force is supposed to be fleeing toward Dunkirk. Instead, they're counterattacking, and they're winning. Rommel does something no German commander has done yet in this war. He orders his 88mm anti-aircraft guns turned horizontal, points them at the tanks, opens fire. What happens next will change armored warfare forever. But this isn't Rommel's story. This is the story of the man inside that lead Matilda tank. The man who refused to surrender, even when his tank was destroyed, his crew was dead, and the entire German 7th Panzer Division surrounded him. His name was Alfred Hulme, and in 72 hours, he'll do something no soldier in World War II will ever match. Alfred Clive Hulme was born January 24, 1911, in Dunedin, New Zealand, South Island, sheep country. His father was an engineer, his mother a schoolteacher, middle-class family. Nothing remarkable. Hulme grew up working, farm labor, mechanical repair. By the time he turned 18, he could strip an engine blindfolded and rebuild it better than factory spec. He had a gift. Machines made sense to him. People didn't. He was quiet, kept to himself, worked with his hands. In 1935, he enlisted in the New Zealand Army, not because of patriotism, not because of adventure. He needed work. The Depression was grinding through its 6th year. The Army paid. They assigned him to the New Zealand Divisional Cavalry. He learned to ride horses, learned to maintain vehicles, learned to shoot. By 1939, he was a corporal. When Germany invaded Poland, New Zealand declared war within hours. The government mobilized, sent troops to Egypt, then to Europe. Hulme shipped out with the 2nd New Zealand Division in January 1940. Destination France. The war there was supposed to be over before he arrived. May 10, 1940. Germany invades France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. 3 armies, 14 divisions, 2,445 tanks, 7,378 artillery pieces. The largest military offensive in history. The French and British have more tanks, more men, better defensive positions. None of it matters. The Germans bypassed the Maginot Line, punched through the Ardennes forest, where everyone said tanks couldn't go, reached the English Channel in 10 days. The French army collapses. The British Expeditionary Force retreats toward Dunkirk. By May 20th, the campaign is effectively over. Germany has won. Then comes Arras. May 21st, 1940. British commanders launch a desperate counterattack. 2 tank battalions, 74 Matilda tanks, 60 French tanks. Their mission: cut the German supply lines, slow the advance, buy time for the evacuation at Dunkirk. It's a suicide mission. Everyone knows it. They attack anyway. Alfred Hulme is the gunner in Matilda tank number 7, Commander Lieutenant James Crawford, driver Private Colin Mackenzie, loader Private Thomas Webb, radio operator Private William Hughes. 5 men crammed into a 27-ton steel box. The interior is cramped, hot, the engine noise is deafening. Visibility through the vision slits is terrible. The 2-pounder gun can penetrate any German tank at 500 yards, but first you have to see it. First you have to hit it. The Matilda column advances at 0200 hours. They roll through the darkness. No lights. Navigation by compass and map. At dawn they hit the first German positions. Hulme sees them through his gun sight. Infantry, trucks, anti-tank guns. Crawford gives the order. Fire. Hulme squeezes the trigger. The 2-pounder barks. The shell screams downrange. Hits a German half-track. Explosion. The vehicle flips. Men scatter. Hulme reloads. Fires again. The Matildas tear through the German lines like a knife. Nothing can stop them. The German 37mm anti-tank guns bounce rounds off their armor. The Matildas don't even slow down. For 2 hours, they rampage through German positions, destroying vehicles, scattering infantry. It's working. The Germans are retreating. Then Rommel arrives. Erwin Rommel, commander of the 7th Panzer Division, the Ghost Division. He sees the British tanks, sees his men retreating, makes a decision that will define his career. He orders every 88mm anti-aircraft gun in his division turned toward the tanks. The 88mm flak gun wasn't designed to fight tanks. It was designed to shoot down aircraft at 26,000 feet. Rate of fire, 15 rounds per minute. Muzzle velocity, 2,690 feet per second. Shell weight, 21 pounds. At horizontal range, an 88mm shell can penetrate 4 inches of armor at 2,000 yards. The Matilda has 3 inches maximum. The first 88 opens fire. The shell hits Matilda number 4 at 1,200 yards, penetrates the front armor, detonates inside. The tank explodes. Ammunition cooking off. Black smoke. No survivors. Hulme sees it through his vision slit, sees the tank burning, sees no one getting out. Crawford's voice crackles over the radio. All tanks. Evasive maneuvers. Spread out. Keep moving. The Matildas scatter. They're fast for heavy tanks. 15 malapair on roads. 8 malapair cross country. But against an 88mm gun at 1,200 yards, speed doesn't matter. The second shell hits Matilda number 11, penetrates the turret, kills the commander and gunner instantly. The driver manages to bail out, gets 10 yards. Machine gun fire cuts him down. Third shell, fourth shell, fifth shell. The 88s are methodical, professional, deadly. The Matildas are dying. Crawford orders retreat. The surviving tanks turn, try to disengage. The 88s keep firing. Matilda number 7 takes a hit. The shell penetrates the rear armor, doesn't detonate, just punches through, severs the fuel line, shreds the transmission. The engine dies. The tank coasts to a stop. Crawford tries the radio. Dead. He tries to restart the engine. Nothing. The tank is dead. They're 800 yards behind German lines, surrounded, immobilized. Crawford makes the call. Abandon tank. We surrender. The crew starts climbing out. Crawford first, then Webb, then Mackenzie, then Hughes. German infantry is approaching. 200 yards. Rifles raised, shouting in German. Hands up. Surrender. Crawford and the others comply. Hands behind their heads. Prisoners of war. Hulme doesn't follow. He stays in the tank. He's looking at something. The 88mm shell that went through the rear armor. It didn't hit the ammunition. Didn't hit the gun. Just killed the engine and transmission. The turret still works. Manually. The gun still works. He still has 12 rounds of 2-pounder ammunition. And through his gun sight, he can see an 88mm position. 600 yards. Perfect range. Hulme closes the hatch, locks it from inside. He's alone in a dead tank. No engine, no radio, no crew. Surrounded by an entire German division. The rational choice is surrender. The safe choice is following his crew out. Alfred Hulme doesn't do either. He traverses the turret manually. Hand crank, slow. The Germans outside are shouting, banging on the hull, ordering him out. He ignores them. Lines up the gun sight. The 88mm crew hasn't seen him. They're still firing at other Matildas. 600 yards. Hulme loads a round, aims, fires, direct hit. The 88mm explodes. Crew dead. Gun destroyed. Hulme reloads, traverses, finds another target. German half-track. 400 yards. Fires. Hit. The half-track burns. Reloads. Fires. Reloads. Fires. He's shooting at anything that moves. The Germans realize the tank isn't dead. They open fire. Rifle rounds ping off the armor. Harmless. Machine gun fire. Ineffective. The Matilda's armor is too thick. They try Panzerfaust. The shaped charge detonates against the turret. Hulme is thrown against the breach. His ears are ringing, blood running from his nose, but the armor holds. He keeps firing. For 40 minutes, Alfred Hulme fights alone. 1 man, 1 dead tank, 12 rounds of ammunition, against the entire 7th Panzer Division. He destroys 3 88mm positions, 2 half-tracks, 1 ammunition truck. The explosion from the ammo truck is visible for miles, kills 17 German soldiers, wounds 23 more, then he runs out of ammunition. The gun is empty. The Germans know it. They approach carefully, rifles ready. They're not taking chances. Hulme opens the hatch, climbs out, hands up. His uniform is soaked with sweat and blood. His face is covered in soot. He can barely hear. The Germans expect a crew, 5 men. They find one. 1 man did all that? A German officer asks in broken English. Hulme doesn't answer. They search him, find nothing but a cigarette lighter and a photograph of his wife. They march him to a collection point. Other British prisoners are there. His crew, Crawford, Webb, Mackenzie, Hughes, all alive, all captured. They stare at Hulme. What the hell were you doing? Crawford asks. My job, Hulme says. The prisoners are loaded into trucks, driven east. Destination, POW camp. Stalag XXA. In Poland, the trucks travel at night, roads clogged with German military traffic. The convoy stops near a forest. Guard change, bathroom break. The Germans are relaxed. The war is won. These prisoners aren't going anywhere. Hulme is sitting in the back of a truck, hands tied with rope. 6 other prisoners with him. 2 German guards, standing outside. Hulme works the rope, quietly, patiently. His hands are bleeding. The rope is loosening. After 20 minutes, his hands are free. He doesn't tell anyone. He waits. The convoy starts moving again. An hour later, they stop again, refueling. The guards open the tailgate, order everyone out. Stretch your legs. 5 minutes. Hulme climbs down, looks around. They're at a German fuel depot. Trucks everywhere. Half-tracks. Tanks. One Panzer III sitting 50 yards away. Engine idling. Crew standing outside smoking. No one watching it. Hulme walks toward the latrine. The guards aren't watching. Why would they? He's one prisoner among hundreds. Unarmed. Surrounded by an entire German division. He walks past the latrine. Keeps walking. Approaches the Panzer III. The crew doesn't notice. He climbs onto the hull. Drops into the driver's hatch. The crew sees him. Starts shouting. Hulme slams the hatch. Locks it. The Panzer III is a 22-ton medium tank. 5-man crew. 50mm main gun. 2 machine guns. Top speed 25 mph. Range 150 miles. Hulme has never driven one. Never even seen the inside of one. Everything is labeled in German. He doesn't speak German. He finds the gear lever. Finds the throttle. The engine is already running. He slams it into gear. The tank lurches forward. The crew is banging on the hull. Screaming. German soldiers are running toward him. Rifles firing. Bullets ping off the armor. Hulme doesn't stop. He drives. The Panzer III crashes through the fuel depot. Flattens a tent. Runs over a motorcycle. German soldiers dive out of the way. Hulme is navigating by pure instinct. He can't see well through the vision slits. He doesn't know where he's going. He just knows he's not staying. The tank reaches the road. Hulme turns west, toward Allied lines. Toward freedom. The problem, Allied lines are 80 miles away. He has no map, no radio, no weapon except the tank itself. And he's driving through occupied France. Every German soldier between here and the Channel is going to try to stop him. Hulme floors it. The Panzer III accelerates. 15 mph, 25 mph. The engine is screaming. The vibration is incredible, but he's moving. Behind him, chaos. The Germans are scrambling, loading into vehicles, calling for air support. A stolen Panzer III is roaring through France, driven by a British prisoner. High command is informed. Orders are issued. Stop that tank. Kill the driver. Recover the vehicle. Hulme drives for 2 hours, straight west. He passes through 3 villages. German soldiers fire at him. He doesn't fire back. Can't. He doesn't know how to operate the gun. He just drives. Near Abbeville, he encounters a roadblock. German half-track blocking the road. Infantry positions on both sides. Machine guns. They're waiting for him. Hulme doesn't slow down. He aims the Panzer III directly at the half-track. Accelerates. The Germans open fire. Bullets everywhere. The Panzer's armor holds. Hulme hits the half-track. At 25 mph. The collision is catastrophic. The half-track flips. The Panzer III keeps going, barely scratched. 10 miles from Allied lines, the Panzer runs out of fuel. The engine coughs, sputters, dies. Hulme coasts to a stop in the middle of a French farm field. He climbs out, looks around. Behind him, smoke. Ahead, nothing but farmland. He starts walking. West. Always west. For 3 days, Alfred Hulme walks through occupied France. He hides in barns, sleeps in ditches, eats whatever he can scavenge. French civilians see him. Some help. A farmer gives him bread. A woman gives him civilian clothes. Most just look away. On the 4th day, he reaches Allied lines. British positions near Dunkirk. Sentries see him approaching. Rifles raised. Hands up. Who are you? 2nd Lieutenant Alfred Hulme, New Zealand Division. I need to report. The sentries think he's lying. He's wearing French civilian clothes. He's covered in dirt and blood. He has no identification. They arrest him as a possible spy. It takes 6 hours to verify his identity. When his commanding officer arrives, Hulme gives his report. Captured at Arras. Escaped. Stole a German tank. Drove it 80 miles. Ran out of fuel. Walked the rest. The officer stares at him. You stole a Panzer III? Yes, sir. And drove it through German lines? Yes, sir. For 80 miles? Yes, sir. The officer doesn't know whether to court-martial him or recommend him for a medal. They recommend the medal, the Victoria Cross, the highest military decoration in the British Commonwealth, awarded for valor in the face of the enemy. The citation reads, for most conspicuous bravery and devotion to duty during operations near Arras, France. When his tank was disabled and his crew ordered to surrender, 2nd Lieutenant Hulme remained in the vehicle and continued to engage enemy positions single-handedly until ammunition was exhausted. After capture, he escaped, commandeered an enemy tank, and drove through hostile territory to return to Allied lines. His actions exemplify the highest traditions of military service. The Victoria Cross is presented by King George VI, June 1940. Buckingham Palace. Hulme stands at attention. The king pins the medal to his chest. Tell me, Lieutenant, how did you learn to drive a German tank? I didn't, Your Majesty, I just drove. Alfred Hulme is evacuated from Dunkirk with the rest of the BEF, returns to England. spends 6 weeks in hospital, recovering from injuries, shrapnel wounds, concussion, malnutrition, exhaustion. By August, he's cleared for duty, assigned to a training unit, instructing new tank crews. Boring work, safe work. After arraigns, the army doesn't want to risk him. Hulme requests combat duty. Denied. Requests again. Denied. He's too valuable as a trainer, too valuable as propaganda. The man who stole a German tank, the Victoria Cross recipient, he's more useful alive than dead. Hulme spends the rest of the war training tank crews, lecturing at military schools, demonstrating tactics. He hates it, but he does his job. The war ends. May 1945. Germany surrenders. Hulme stays in uniform, serves with the occupation forces in Germany, promoted to major, then lieutenant colonel, then colonel. He retires in 1960, returns to New Zealand, settles in Auckland, gets a job as a mechanical engineer, designs farming equipment, lives quietly. He marries, has 2 sons. One of them, Denny Hulme, becomes a race car driver, Formula One world champion in 1967, the only New Zealander to win the title. When journalists ask Denny about his father, he says, "My old man was a tank driver, best driver I ever knew." Alfred Clive Hulme dies September 2nd, 1982. He's 71 years old. They bury him at Waikumete Cemetery, Auckland, Section 3, Grave 127. The Victoria Cross is displayed at the Qi Army Memorial Museum in Waisaw, behind glass, under lights, next to a photograph of a young lieutenant standing beside a Matilda tank. Most people walk past it without stopping. They don't know the story. They don't know about Arras, about the 40 minutes alone in a dead tank, about the stolen Panzer III, about the 80-mile drive through enemy territory. They just see another medal from another war. Here's what the story of Alfred Hulme tells us. Sometimes the only way forward is to refuse every option they give you. At Arras, Hulme was supposed to surrender. His tank was dead. His crew was captured. The entire German 7th Panzer Division surrounded him. Any rational person would have given up. Hulme stayed, kept fighting. When they finally captured him, he was supposed to stay captured, accept prisoner status, wait out the war in a POW camp. Hulme escaped, stole a tank, drove through the entire German army, alone, with no training, no map, no weapons, just a refusal to accept that his options were limited to the ones they gave him. That's not recklessness. That's not luck. That's something else. That's the kind of stubborn, relentless determination that looks at impossible odds and says, "Watch me." May 21st, 1940. One man, one dead tank, one choice to fight when everyone else surrendered. That's the Alfred Hulme story, not the Victoria Cross, not the escape. The story is a man who refused to quit, even when quitting was the only rational option. That's all. That's everything.